What does the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Odyssey, and Gurren Lagann have in common? Well, the first one kinda gives it away, but these are all epics. No, I don't mean epic in the way it was already overused a decade ago on the new Boiled Berry Blast Mountain Dew. Pick yours up today. I'm talking about a heroic tale that not only is an entertaining story for the culture and time it was created, but one that provides both physical and spiritual guidance for those who take the story past the absolute surface level. The Odyssey wasn't just about a band of soldiers going on a dangerous adventure to return home, and Gurren Lagann isn't just about goofy people fighting in goofier looking robots with giant faces, even if I still love it for that. These two share heavy parallels with each other. Gurren Lagann, distilled to its purest message, is about facing the challenges of life and not giving up. One interpretation of the Odyssey is similar, that the situations and monsters the crew faces are challenges that everyone has to face in life. Not giving up hope no matter how bleak it seems. Returning your soul to the place it belongs. Poseidon, the Odyssey's main antagonist, gets mischaracterized due to the messy nature of how often people take gods and myths literally, instead of representations of the domains they are meant to rule over. A wise teacher taught me that Poseidon is the ruler of the physical realm. You might think he is only the big boss of the sea, but that's a misconception. Zeus rules the heavens, Hades rules the underworld, so where does that leave Poseidon? As the ruler of the physical realm. When Poseidon is throwing these challenges at Odysseus and his crew, that is the physical world presenting these challenges in life. Gurren Lagann has an interesting way it hides its depth. The show is very in your face with everything about itself, but it will at times still go over a person's head because of just how blatant it can be, truly hiding in plain sight. Like with Kamina's death, all the red flags have been there. He is someone who is very reckless and willing to risk it all, no matter how drastically more powerful an enemy seems to be. He starts a love interest and says the classic, "Huh, when I get back I can't wait to see my girl," kind of line with Yoko and smashing their faces together more. All the signs are there that he will die, but when it happens, it's still shocking to the core, because it's easy to fall under the guise of Kamina being invincible. The same guise that all of Team Dai Gurren were under. We've seen him do crazy shit over and over again, that we get a false sense of security for his safety. We then all get brutally shown the folly of our assumptions. When Kamina and Simon are ascending from their underground village where they feel comfortable, well, Simon feels comfortable. But when they are ascending from their underground village into the world that they are constantly having to face challenges, whether the challenges are external ones or internal ones, overcoming them with their fighting spirit and help from their friends they have made along the way. They constantly gain new understandings of themselves and the world they live in as they continue to ascend into the stars. We hear their battle cry speeches as they yell in front of beings the size of a galaxy and think, wow, they are so wacky and cool, which is 100% true, but we can overlook the fact that they are talking directly to us, the viewers. That they are encouraging us to face our own anti-spirals, gunmen, or whatever challenges in our life, that they can be overcome. Our anti-spirals just take different forms, like a 9-to-5 we hate or endless self-critical talk. Even if the challenge seems insurmountable, we can chip away at it day by day, slowly progressing like a drill in the ground. Gurren Lagann urges us to do things we currently assume are impossible. See the invisible. Row, row, fight the
Hey! Stop your rambling and get to the point!
I was working on it.
I can only keep you summoned for so long, and I still need to ambush adventurers later. From now on, every 3 minutes you talk, I am setting something on fire.
Okay. So, Gurren Lagann is a story that is about giving us advice on how we can best live our lives. What does any of this have to do with spirituality? Well, there's constant references to godlike entities in religion. Think the Adai village episode. The moon is called Hell's Messenger. You know, the whole pierce the heavens thing. The Spiral King is called the Spiral God at times, and he even goes about creating life in order to challenge humans. These are all on the surface level, but we're now going to be drilling down, so put on your protective headgear as I start to go a little crazy-er. Seven gets brought up all the time in the movies and the show. 7 days after Kamina's death. 7 days sieging the capital, 7-year time skip, and literally
it is said that the god who once created the world in 7 days.
They seem to really want us to notice the 7. This will be important later, so keep that in your pocket. Another concept that deals quite literally with 7 is the 7 Hermetic Principles. Hermes Trismegistus, also known as Thoth, had at one point written the Emerald Tablets. The 7 Hermetic principles are derived from these and the Hermetica. Now, for full disclosure, I am not a Hermeticist, which might seem weird considering another video I have made. However, the 7 principles are true and are an excellent introduction into thinking on not just a physical wavelength. Gurren Lagann almost entirely encapsulates all of these within its story. Mentalism is the first principle, and it states, "The all is mind, the universe is mental." This is a teaching that your thoughts and feelings shape your reality. This is like the #1 thing always pushed in the show. When people believe in themselves and have hope, that is when they gain power and are able to overcome obstacles. If their confidence is shaken or they fear the worst, that is when the worst comes to get them. Lagann stops functioning when Simon has practically given up on life, returning once Simon has discovered his way to continue on with his life after Kamina has left it, in large part thanks to Nia. In the beginning, Simon is just in the flow digging. Oh, look at him go! Look at him being able to go faster than everyone else because he genuinely enjoys his job. This leads him to finding the core drill. Later on, after he was talking about how he doesn't want to leave the village, the second he starts to doubt this and considers wanting to leave, Lagann practically manifests itself in front of his drill. Heck, they end up in a universal dimension where they are literally creating reality from their thoughts and feelings. This idea itself encompasses almost the entirety of Gurren Lagann.
Oh wow, think good thoughts, how profound. Did you hear that, kid who is especially flammable? Think good thoughts.
Okay. It's not just the first principle. The second principle of correspondence states, as above, so below. As below, so above. This builds from mentalism, where thoughts and feelings internally have an external effect, the same way actions in the physical have an effect in the spiritual, and vice versa. The different planes are not separate but connected in a dance of pushing and pulling with one another. First, let's use this statement literally. In the beginning, Simon and Kamina live in an underground village, and it can be said that the chief rules with an iron fist. Iron katana. This village, along with other human villages, are repressed by the Spiral King / Spiral God, depending on what his subordinates call him that day. Earth, along with all other spiral race planets, are also repressed by the anti-spirals. This all started because the anti-spirals repressed themselves in order to control the other spiral races. An internal feeling of fear changed a spiral race into the anti-spirals, which then cascaded into the current situation the universe has found itself in. Correspondence also talks about how the fundamentals of the universe that materialize at a small scale also do so in a large one. The whole drill spiral motif plays heavily into the principle of correspondence, as DNA forms a spiral, which is what gives spiral races their powers. That power takes the form of a drill. Inserting that drill powers mechs that use drills as weapons. On the small scale, we even get shots of spiral galaxies in Simon's eyes. This spiral energy that is pictured has the ability to form large creations, new spiral galaxies. This is truly as above, so below, taken in its most literal form. The third principle of vibration states, nothing rests, everything moves, everything vibrates. The universe is ever changing. Nothing stays stagnant. Just like how the universe is constantly changing, the spiral races embody this principle as they have an internal drive to keep evolving, pushing themselves to their limits. This can be seen as major technological progress happens in a mere span of 7 years, from living in a hole to leading a probe mission to the moon.
You eventually learn that something you thought was a precious treasure is nothing but junk. I wonder if that qualifies as evolution.
Yes, it's possible. What a strange thing. But you know, Rossio, that's what makes humans so fascinating.
This echoes the main lessons from the story, to keep pushing on little by little, taking down the walls that block you in life. Bad times will never stay forever, and good times will go as well, so be sure to appreciate them when they are in your life. You are in a constant state of flux. Make use of this and don't fear the changes that happen. The fourth principle of polarity states, everything is dual. Everything has poles. Everything has its pair of opposites. Like and unlike are the same. Opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree. Extremes meet. All truths are but half-truths. All paradoxes may be reconciled. The easiest way to present this principle is with an example. Hot and cold are polar opposites, but both are a way we describe temperature. Something that is hot can be made cold. Just like how if you are sad, you can be made happy. The anti-spirals and spiral races are polar opposites to the most literal degree, even down to their designs. One being super flashy, each character having personality, while the other has a very plain look. They might as well be clones of each other. These polar opposites have the ability to become one another. One example being the anti-spirals were once a spiral race until they changed themselves through their will. Nia, when the human extinction project by the anti-spiral starts, becomes an anti-spiral in states. I'll give it my best shot. Now that I have become an anti-spiral, I can never be human again. Oh, that was bad. That was bad.
However, the defense system has been activated. I have become an anti-spiral, and I can never again be made human.
Which is false, as later on when Simone helps Nia break the anti-spiral conditioning, she goes back to being her human self. In our darkest times, it can feel like we will never be happy again. This isn't true. Remember that the universe, and therefore you, are always changing. The fifth principle of rhythm states, everything flows, out and in. Everything has its tides. All things rise and fall. The pendulum swing manifests in everything. The measure of the swing to the right is the measure of the swing to the left. Rhythm compensates. Just like how everything is always changing along its poles, it has a rhythm of swinging between the poles. As an example, with the poles of happiness and sadness, think on some of the most important events in the story and the swing that is taking place. After Kamina smacks Simone out of his self-doubt and Simone is feeling great, in comes the swing with Kamina's death. When Simone is at his lowest in life, in comes the swing when he finds Nia, the consequence of which will see him swinging back over to happiness. When Nia had just accepted his proposal, Simone was once again riding high. Soon after, the anti-spirals took over Nia, swinging the pendulum once again, and landing with Simone betrayed, put in prison, and waiting for his death. F you, Horacio. Okay. Time to finally bring back the talk of 7. 7 in numerology represents karma, consequence, luck, and the divine scale. What was the time between Kamina's death which caused such pain and Nia's discovery that led to such joy? 7 days. How long between the defeat of the Spiral King until the emergence of the anti-spirals? 7 years. These events coincide with the universe balancing things again with another pendulum swing. Not to go on too much of a tangent, but another importance of 7 is the 7 major chakras. The base, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, third eye, and crown. All of these have a corresponding color that goes along with them. And interestingly, the heart chakra's color is green. The heart chakra helps with feeling emotions and keeping emotional balance. You know, the thing needed to power gunmen, aka spiral energy, aka that green stuff in the show. Even when it's super powered up, it changes from green to the other chakra colors as well. The drill, when worn by Simone, rests right around his heart chakra area. When he is trying to grasp for it when it isn't there, it makes him look as if he's trying to hold his heart chakra. Also, as we know, he states multiple times, his drill is his soul. I'm just saying, that's a lot of coincidences, alright? The sixth principle of cause and effect states, every cause has its effect. Every effect has its cause. Everything happens according to law. Chance is but a name for law not recognized. Simply put, everything happens for a reason, even if we are unable to perceive or understand the reason. An interesting example of this that happens in the show is at the very beginning. Growing up, Simone and the other villagers had assumed that the earthquakes that caused destruction in their village were simple acts of nature. It's not until Simone gains a higher level of understanding from ascending out of the underground that he realizes it wasn't natural at all. The earthquakes are caused by gunmen having their rough landing. The humans thought the Spiral King was just an evil ruler repressing them, only to find out he was doing it in order to avoid a full human extinction. Even though this doesn't rectify his actions, it does show there's a deeper reason for them. The seventh and final principle of gender states, gender is everything. Everything has its masculine and feminine principles. Gender manifests on all planes. Hold on. Now before you start getting nervous, this talks of masculine and feminine energies and traits. Yin and Yang is a representation of masculine and feminine. The sun and moon are representations of masculine and feminine. And yes, Kamina / like older Simone are representations of the masculine, and Nia is a representation of the feminine. Now I know all the characters have masculine and feminine traits, just like everything does, but hear me out. When Kamina dies, everything loses its color. The show becomes darker. Simone and the others have lost their light from the radiant sun of masculinity that is Kamina. Simone begins to take on more traits of Kamina once he's gone and finds his own masculinity. Nia not only exhibits a lot of feminine traits, but she is literally associated with the moon. When she becomes hostile from being an anti-spiral, the moon also becomes hostile. Side note, I also love the shots of when both the sun and moon are in view. Even though they are opposites on opposite sides of the view, they are beautiful together. As Nia says,
I think you and I are different people. Very, very different people. But since we're the same in being different, I think living together would work out.
her and Simone are very different and separate people. But it is no coincidence that they are always together when taking down the biggest antagonists. So what does all this mean anyways? Do I really think that everything I've been talking about was planned by the creators? No. I would have to see multiple interviews from multiple of the creators affirming that is the case for me to believe it. So then, why does it seem like Gurren Lagann expresses this spiritual philosophy so heavily? The same reason so many stories follow such similar beats, or why philosophers from different locations and times have made similar findings. When something is a universal truth about human nature or the universe, it will naturally be manifested even if we don't intend for it. The lessons of Gurren Lagann, intentional or not, reinforce a spiritual philosophy of self-actualization through shedding any victim mentality one may have, and taking responsibility for your life as well as its influence on others. These lessons are ones that would help with whatever your goals are when integrated into your own life. Now get out there, scream your crazy mantras, take your burning passion and throw your dukes at the anti-spirals in your life. You have more fighting spirit than you think. Who the hell do you think you are? You are the indomitable leader of your own life, leaving your mark in both the physical and astral. Bringing
All right,
your desires
that's
from
it.
your heart to your hands to
Shut
make them real.